Hello everyone, welcome to Botany optional channel for UPSC examination. In today's video, we are going to focus on a topic called the structure of Monocotyledonous seed. As you know, in a plant kingdom, there are two types of seeds we often found. First is the Monocotyledonous seed and second is the Dicotyledonous seed. In this particular video, we are going to focus only on the Monocotyledonous seed and we will see the structural features this seed have because this seed structurally is quite different from the dicot seed, and this monocot seed has its own characteristics being made from the one cotyledon only, right? So we will find the structural details in this very small seed to understand how the structural component of the monocotyledonous seed exists. All right. So before starting the video, I request you to join the Telegram channel of the same name, that is the Botany optional for UPSC examination on the Telegram platform. We regularly upload the PDFs and link of these videos on that platform as well. Join that channel as well so that you will not miss any study material relating with the botany subject. So let us see the structure of monocotyledonous seed. What you are seeing on the picture is a typical monocotyledonous seed, and this seed belongs to the maize. That is, this is the seed of Zea maize. As you know, Zea maize is a monocotyledonous plant, and the whole seed shows the structure like this. As you know, you have seen in the maize plant, there are many grains attached with the single fruit. In this single fruit, each grain represents the seed, and this single seed represents the single grain in an maize fruit. All right. Now, if you observe carefully in this single seeded fruit, the seed coat and the fruit wall is inseparable from one another. As you can observe, the seed coat and the fruit wall are combined together in this one layer. They are inseparable. So you should remember carefully that the seed coat and the fruit wall in the monocotyledonous seed is not separable. They are inseparable, and combinedly they form the structure called as the hull. This combined structure called as the hull, because the seed coat and the fruit wall are not separate, and together these two create the structure called the hull. Now in this seed, you can clearly observe there are two parts, right? This middle layer separating the seed into two parts. This is the first part and this is the second part. Now in a maize seed, this part is generally yellowish in color, while the lower part is always white in color. This white color portion contains the embryo. Alright, so the embryo lies in the lower portion or the white portion, while above we have the bigger yellow portion in the seed. As I said, this grain is divided into two unequal parts by a layer. This layer is called as the epithelium layer. This epithelium layer separates the monocot seed into two parts, actually the two unequal parts. These two parts are not equal, they are unequal divided. The upper portion of the part has the more area, where the lower portion has the low area. The layer separating these two unequal parts is called as the epithelium layer, and you can clearly observe this epithelium layer running from the middle of the seed. Now this bigger portion, which you can see in the upper area, this bigger portion is known as the endosperm, while the lower portion is considered as a place for embryo. So roughly, you can say the upper portion is a endosperm, while the lower portion is the embryo. The endosperm is an food storing tissue, while the lower portion of embryo consists of the scutellum and the axis. Now, here in the labeling, you do not find the axis, so consider this from particular this area is called as the axis. All right. So the embryo part of a seed contains made up of two parts. First is the scutellum and second is the axis. Now this axis is again divided into the upper portion and the lower portions. The upper portion of the axis contains the plumule. You can observe here, this is the plumule. The upper portion of this axis contains the plumule, while the lower portion of this axis contains the radicle. As you can observe, this axis has both the component plumule as well as the radicle. The upper part of the axis contains the plumule, while the lower part of the axis contains the radicle. The plumule is covered by the protective covering, this protective covering which covers the plumule is called as the coleoptile. While in a very similar way, the radicle is also protected by a particular layer. This layer is called as the coleorhiza. So you should remember carefully, the plumule is protected by an layer. That layer is called as coleoptile. So plumule is directly related with the coleoptile, while the radicle is protected by a layer called as coleorhiza. So the radicle is directly linked with the coleorhiza. So these are the all structural components in the monocot seed. Now if you make the summary, we have seen that in a monocot seed, the seed coat and fruit wall are inseparable, and due to this inseparable, they form a particular structure. We call that structure as the hull. Then this monocot seed is divided into two unequal parts by a layer called as epithelium. The upper portion is more in size, while the lower portion is smaller in size. The upper portion is generally yellow in color, while the lower portion is generally white in color. The upper portion is the endosperm, which is food storing tissue, and the lower portion is the embryo containing portion. Now, the lower portion is again divided into two parts. First is the scutellum, which is an area of an embryo, and another is the axis in which the radicle and plumules is coming. Now, this axis, on the upper part of it, we have the plumule, while on the lower part, we have the radicle. This plumule is covered by a protective layer called as the coleoptile, while the radicle on the lower side is protected by a protective layer. That layer is called as the coleorhiza. Alright, so this is how the structure shown by the monocot seed. Now we have taken the example of a maize, and this is the seed of maize. This structure of a monocotyledonous seed is almost similar in all monocots with some exceptions. Alright, so from examination point of view, you should carefully remember all the labeling related with this diagram, so that you will not miss a single labeling, and in turn you can make a good diagram. While drawing the diagram for a monocot seed, the first thing you should remember, you have to draw the only one cotyledon. That is, only one cotyledon is present in a monocot seed, and that cotyledon is divided by a epithelium layer into two unequal portions to show the upper portion the larger portion, while the lower portion the smaller portion. As you know, the upper portion is an endosperm and lower portion is an embryo. This embryo is again have two parts, the scutellum and the axis. This axis is again the upper axis and the lower axis. In the upper axis we have plumule, in the lower axis we have radicle, and there is a protection for plumule, it is called the coleoptile, and protection for the radicle, it is called the coleorhiza. So this is the structural features of the monocot seed. So I hope you like this lecture. Please like the video. Please share this video with your friends who are studying the botany. If you think anything missing in this lecture, please make sure to comment in a comment box. And please subscribe to the Botany optional channel for UPSC examination. Again, thank you very much for watching this video. See you in the next one.